Coming to you live on DSTV channel 41 and GoTV channel 144 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're JoyNews on TV. We're also streaming on YouTube. We're JoyNews Live. My name is Mapito CBD and this is JoyNews Interactive. We have a very exciting show coming up, so stick and stay. Thank you so much for staying with us. Today we're telling you about the cinema story. And according to Nanaya, who's the business manager of Silverbird Cinemas Ghana, they have lost about $2 million due to the closure. Every filmmaker's dream is to see their final product on the big screen. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, those dreams continue to be shut. While some parts of the world open their theater doors, in Ghana, those dreams continue to be dreams. I'm sitting in the middle of a 300-seater capacity cinema hall. And without an audience, it feels lonely and quiet. No lights, no camera, and certainly no action. Today, I tell you the cinema story, 15 months after the doors were shut. I'm currently at the front of house of Silverbird Cinemas, the biggest in West Africa and the second biggest on the entire African continent. And I'm going to speak to Nanaya, who is a business manager here at Silverbird Cinemas Ghana. And we're going to talk about the impact of the closures of cinemas. Nanaya.
Hi, Princess.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, I mean, we've heard from filmmakers, we've heard from producers, actresses, the likes, but we haven't heard your story and how the closure of cinemas impacted you. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's been devastating, to say the least, because there's an entire industry bearing the full vigor of the pandemic, and we've been shut down for over a year now. Staff has been laid down, the cinema has been closed, so it's been very hectic for the cinema and for the entire industry. All right,
so let's zoom into the staff. So for the past year, they've been home?
They've been home.
And any stipend, what's been happening with that?
Okay, so we are closed.
Yeah.
Incomes are not coming, we are not making revenues. But you would want these staff to come back to work when the government opens the cinemas. So we try to give them a little bit of some stimulus to help them in their daily activities. But in all, they've been well taken care of by the company, not by the government. I need to mention that. So that's how they've been surviving. All
right, so now let's talk about annually. Plus minus, how much would you make before the COVID-19 pandemic? How much were you making?
Okay, so annually we are hovering in the margins of $2 million a year. That's how much Accra Mall alone makes in a year. So that's how much we've lost for the past 1 year.
All right, so you talk about loss. Now, what is the way forward, the recovery plan? If President Akufo-Addo says we're opening the cinemas tomorrow, what is the way forward?
We were actually ready yesterday, as a matter of fact. We've put measures in place. All COVID-19 protocols are in place. If you have the time to go around the theaters and the cinema areas, you realize everything that needs to be done to make people feel safe, to make them feel more confident in the cinema have been put in place. We've cordoned off patrons from our staff. There are all seats have been demarcated. People are not sitting together again. So yes, we are ready. If he said get go, we were ready yesterday. Okay, let's talk about the seats. You know, your biggest hall is 300 seats. Yes, please. So that means half of that. Some of the filmmakers are saying that if we're going to just put half, let's not open the cinemas at all. Okay. Yeah, because we're losing money. You understand? If it's like 200 seater and we're only seating 100 people, we're losing money. So let's not open the cinemas. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Okay, so that's beautiful. We are second biggest in Africa for a reason. Yeah. So we don't operate in just a cinema hall. We have 5 cinema halls here, 5 at Westos Mall. So that is 10 cinema halls times 300. That's 3,000 people. So if you can sit 50% of that 3,000, that's 1,500 at a go. Yeah. So I don't think that's small number for producers to be fretting on about the reopening. But don't you think you'll be running at a loss because everything is set? You have your lights, you have your projectors on, you have the popcorn machine on, but you're only serving half of the people, so half of the 3,000. Don't you think you'll be running at a loss? Okay, so truth is, so we have blockbuster movies. We hardly fill most of the halls during ordinary days. So it's just like a normal day coming to the cinema. We are not filling the halls every day anyway, unless it's a blockbuster. Okay. So they are not making losses, as a matter of fact. As a producer, I feel very outraged because I keep saying several times that this is the job I do. I mean, I went to school for 4 years to learn how to make film, so I became a filmmaker. That is my profession. I'm not a banker. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an engineer. That is what I do. And so if my business has been shut for a year and over, that is frustrating. And a lot of them, when you talk, people think it's just about you, but it's about the whole people in the fraternity, from the cinema operators to the filmmakers. Have you been to Silverbird lately? I'm sure if you have, you will see how rotten, like I can say, like it's so dusty, things are spoiling. And that is supposed to be someone's business. So you ask yourself, if the ministry of say finance or anything is closed down today and the workers are home, will those people that work over there be happy and think that we should just move along with it? No. That is someone's business. That is someone's investment. Dusty. The machines they operate with at the cinema, very expensive. And I know that last year the government had meetings with the cinema operators and asked them to put in place some protocols. Silverbird Cinema, that I know for a fact, that did that. They did that. Those things were in place. So when the president came recently and said that their engagement with they should engage with the authorities to find ways and put measures again. They've done that, and those things are spoiling. Their hand washing stations are destroyed. So they need to spend another money to fix them, for which date they don't even know what would come through. So if the president says that opens cinemas in July, but before 15th July, we want you to engage the other stakeholders to put in place measures. Then we know that we have 15th July as a target. But if you leave it open, that engage stakeholders, and then you decide on when to open the cinema, that is a blanket statement that happened last year, and they've wasted money on that. Who is going to pay them for all those measures they put in place before the imposition of the restriction again? Nobody. You understand? So sometimes, I mean, when I was very sad, my sister, I was very, very sad. Like, this is someone's business. Someone's business that employ over 100, over 300 people. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So when I was really sad. I mean, for me as a filmmaker, I was lucky to premiere my movie before the pandemic. Yeah. But I asked myself, how about the other filmmakers that have their films in their studios, films on their computers, films that they've even paid for promotions, started promotions before the pandemic, and up to date. And you know that in this distribution thing, some, especially the online platform or some other buyers, they want fresh content. Yeah. So the moment they say that, okay, this film was made in 2019 and was not released in 2020, 2021, it becomes very stale. Yeah. And they lose some money from there. Some of the avenues that they will sell fresh content to cannot buy it. They have to go to the next one that will buy stale content. So
it's crazy, and that is where we are all in right now.
Yeah. So, you know, before the pandemic, the movie industry, the Ghanaian movie industry, was slowly but surely picking up.
Yes.
How do you think this has affected it? And where do you think, like, if the cinemas open, where do you see the movie industry? Are we back to square one?
I think that when slowly we are going to catch up. Trust me. I think that the earlier the better, because you cannot open the cinemas today and expect the kind of pool you expect. So the earlier the better. So that's why I've been advocating that the cinemas be open earlier. Because even if you say 50 people, out of that 50 people that you are taking for a hall, about 20 of them will say, oh, there's still COVID, so I'm not going to come.
Yeah.
And then when they see 10 people go, 15 people, 20 people, then there's the assurance and the reassurances. And then the numbers will start increasing gradually. But if you wait for so long and you even open the cinemas next year, it's still going to start from that process. So you're even delaying the thing further.
Yeah.
And by that time, everything would have deteriorated. You get it?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I'm really sad. I'm really sad. I'm really sad.
Now let's talk about, so your fellow filmmaker, Pascal Amanfo, said investors are backing out because of the closure of cinemas. And what I've learned is that in Nigeria, Netflix Originals is funding them because they are open. It's funding them. What's happening in Ghana? Like, let's talk about investors backing out.
Yes, because when you're going to meet an investor, he asks you, what are your distribution plans? Okay, what are your recoupment watershed? So how are you going to make the money back? And I keep saying that the cinema is the primary source of revenue for any filmmaker.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Amazon or Netflix has contacted you and saying they are giving you twice your investment. That is a different conversation.
Yeah.
But whereas majority of their films they acquire are not originals, and you have to go to the cinema, make some money, then you move to the next distribution avenue, and move to the next. Cinema is your primary.
Yeah.
And so if the cinemas are closed, and you go to the investor and he asks you how you're going to make the money back, and you start the conversation and cinema is not included, then he knows that nothing good is coming out of it, so he will back out.
Yeah.
But if you make him understand that, oh, okay, I've been in the cinema before, this is how much I made from the cinema, and this is how much I'm sure I can make, and then the other ones from the online streaming platform, the VODs and things will just be an additional ones, then they will be convinced and say, oh, okay, it looks like I even make my money from the cinema before moving on to the other platform to make my profit.
Yeah.
So if that is shut, then why would I even want to invest in film? Because they are not charity organizations, they are businessmen.
Where there was once life, excitement, and an audience, now there is dust and emptiness. I'm standing in the middle of the Silverbird front of house. The popcorn stands are empty, the ticketing desk is empty, and the cinemas are empty. We've heard from the cinema operators, we've also heard from the filmmakers. And now, we wait to hear from you, Mr. President.